Hello, and welcome to Goalie Interference After Dark. Sort of. I mean, we always do it after dark, especially where Mike is, but it is 8 o'clock already, 10 o'clock in the Central. What is that? Is a Cardinals hat. Oh, goodness. This is what a rough start to this podcast or Periscope or whatever we're calling this is.
I got to deal with a Cubs fan here. Unbelievable.
No.
Sox fan,
yes,
Southsider.
Yes.
Southsider.
Oh, yes. The one thing the Cardinal fans and I get along with is that the Cubs are horrific. I hate them with all of my heart. But let's talk about hockey because the Golden Knights just came off a terrific win in Nashville, maybe the best of the season, in my opinion. They played fantastic, basically that entire game. Just give me your overall thoughts and kind of what you thought of a game that they killed, 6 penalties? I guess they gave up the one, but a game where they were riddled by penalties and yet still dominated the game pretty much all the way through.
I just thought they were a lot better pretty much everywhere. I mean, you just look at how they managed the puck. Look at how the Golden Knights fought to work back to get in front of the net and cause.
Middle of the ice,
middle of the ice was taken care of. The neutral zone, they were tighter. I thought they were able to alter their breakouts when they had to tonight. Okay, I mean, they still forced the walls. That's their bread and butter. That's what they're going to do most of the time. But as soon as Nashville started to take that way, sometimes they went to the long flip. Sometimes they went to the stretch pass. They used the middle a bit. I thought they were less predictable tonight. And
Decision using the middle of the ice. That was the guy that jumped out to me like a couple of times. He's hitting those quick passes up the middle, and those are dangerous passes for a kid like him.
Yeah, well, I think that's partly comfort level. And it's just, you're getting better. You're getting used to it, and you're not afraid to branch out of what is exactly the system, right? Like, oh God, they're telling me I got to go up the wall. This is what we're doing. Like, okay, you still, and here's the thing. The coaches will always tell the players that they still have the freedom to make plays. Okay. This isn't the coaches taking it away from them, but it's like, it's subconscious in your mind, right? That you want to do what you really think you're being told and make sure you stick to the game plan and keep it simple. Well,
especially if you're a kid.
Yeah, man. But like, sometimes simple is just so predictable. And so you get to the National Hockey League for a reason, because you've been able to make these plays at other levels. And that is the experience factor, and that's why, like, a great example, Zach Whitecloud, how 5-10 games into his time, you started to see him make some offensive plays, dive down. Like, it's that same type of progression I think you're seeing with some of those younger players.
Yeah, it was still another game where they kind of relied on those turnovers. It kind of was a throwback game in a way to last year, or really even, the last 2 years under DeBoer. It was kind of that game where they take care of the middle of the ice. They make it hard to get into their zone. Mm-hmm. They don't give up a lot. Let Leonard see the shots that are coming from the outside and do those types of things. I do think if this were a game in the middle of last season and we were looking at how have they changed? I still would make the argument that your chances are coming directly off turnovers coming out of the zone, specifically those first 2 goals. They had a shorty. That's another disaster for Nashville. You're kind of being handed goals. But in this season, this is more of what we want to see. We know that style can drag you all the way to easily making the playoffs, probably heading towards the postseason. And I think the biggest piece in tonight's game for me was just the way that they changed how they were exiting. Like you said, the beginning of the game, maybe the first 6 or 7 minutes, it was a challenge. They were having a hard time getting the puck up the walls. They were, getting a lot of passes picked off and a lot of things were going wrong. And they got a couple of big saves from Leonard, but as a whole, it was looking like it was going to be another one of those first periods. And then just basically out of nowhere, and I'll give most of the credit to Stone, Pacioretty, and Stevenson, because they had a couple of shifts where they came in, got out of the zone, got down the other way, and got some chances. I just thought and I don't even think Pacioretty played that great. I just think having that group together kind of pulled them out of a fire that never really burned them down like it has in the past week or maybe month.
Yeah, well, it also throws off Nashville's matchups when it comes to lines. You've got to worry about that big dog line at the top, Stone, Pacioretty, and Stevenson. And, Nashville's not able to pair up as nicely when you're concerned about them. And even a Pacioretty at 70% or 80% of conditioning, you'll take him all day long. I mean,
for sure.
I mean, how many, let me look at it real quick here. I mean, I think he led the team in shots through a couple periods. And yes,
I still thought he looked like
he had 3 tonight.
He was catching his breath a lot of the different
times. For sure.
Oh yeah. That's not to be, that's not surprising, but
it's totally normal. But he had a couple good chances from the slot, but man, you could really start to feel this build in the last couple games, how having Mark Stone just makes such a difference, man. He's your best player. He's the guy that makes the big difference. And the turnover that he creates for Stevenson's goal tonight, picks it right out of the air, I believe, at the blue, or the first one was at the far blue line, creates that turnover. And then for the empty net, it picks it out of the air. And it just, the guy's just so good with this. Yeah, he's so good with this stick. And
I tweeted it out that the NHL 22 game, they have these superstar talents that they have for the players. And apparently I don't even have the game. I've played it in the past, but I guess he just have these things that they do. And Mark Stone's he just picks pucks off, intercepts passes, steals passes. You don't even have to be controlling the guy, and he takes passes. That's exactly what he did in this game. That's where that comes from. And I don't think he's quite been up to the Selke standard in the games that he's played, but he's going to make another run for it if he keeps doing shit like that.
Yeah, especially, even power play makes a difference. Just having somebody that can really filter pucks, even though the power play it still sucks.
Yeah, it's still bad.
I still think you got to give a couple games for Pacioretty to really get back into the swing of things. And now with Marchessault out, that takes a lot away as well.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of looking up and down the lineup tonight. I was pretty impressed with Adam Brooks, man. I know your boy Brooksy.
He's good.
And I remember Brooks from when I played against him, was in the American Hockey League. It was his rookie season. He was on the Toronto Marlies, and they ended up beating my team, which was the Texas Stars, in the Calder Cup Finals, Game 7. And you know what?
He was. Cup finals did you play in?
2 in a row. 2017 with Syracuse, 2018 with Texas. And it was the first time a goalie.
Did you win one?
Oh no, I lost in games. We lost in Game 6, 2017. Game 7, 2018. I always contend that if I had managed to find a way to get on a team that went to the finals in 2019, if it was a 9-game series, I'm confident we'd have won in Game 8.
Yeah. Golden Knights would have won the 9-game series against Montreal too. They definitely would have won 9 games against the Sharks.
There's always these are technicalities,
Stanley Cup, they probably lose in 7, but
those types of things are kind of. I know this is totally selfish of me to talk about it, but it was a fun part of my career. Even at the minor league levels, those are huge moments to play in meaningful games, the last games of the year. And no goaltender had done that with 2 different teams since Olaf Kolzig in the early 90s. So it's at least I had something kind of cool to tie my.
Do they engrave the names on the Calder Cup or no?
They don't engrave them, but you do get there's a plate. Yeah. But it's a huge deal, dude. You talk to anybody, if anybody that wins a championship at the ECHL level, the AHL level, it's a huge deal.
I have a question about the ECHL and AHL, and I guess it's not really the ECHL because nobody does it. Why do Canadians love calling it the American Hockey League? They cannot refer to it to the as the AHL. In the American Hockey League and the National Hockey League, and especially if, I think it's for us Americans, we're that makes absolutely no sense because the National League Baseball and American League Baseball play in the same thing. The National Football Conference, they're the same. But it's not a minor leagues. They call it the American. That doesn't bother you when you were playing in the American Hockey League. That just call it the AHL. It's fine.
Yeah, well, it is the American Hockey League. So to me,
it just grinds my gears. Nobody calls it the National Hockey League every single time.
Do you know what grinds my gears is when people call it the East Coast Hockey League?
It is not. It is the ECHL.
Is the ECHL.
They got rid of that.
It's been 15 years ago since the E and the C actually meant anything.
Yeah, it's really stupid.
So people will call it the Coast, which is a nickname for it if you're a player, and that's cool. People will call it a cheeser because it was the Cheese Toast League. Dude, there's nicknames for these things.
There's actually a current player on the Golden Knights who I had tweeted that I thought it was possible that he would play in the ECHL, and he yapped back at me via direct message and said, "I will not be in the Coast this season." Yeah. I'll let you guess who that is, but
well, he clapped right back at you. That's good.
That happened. Yeah.
We'll circle back to. I know I got sidetracked, but I'll circle back to Brooks.
We don't do that.
When he was with the Marlies, he was, I don't know, 3rd, maybe 4th line center. And they had some good players ahead of really good players ahead of him. And he was a rookie. But I remember thinking, this is a guy who's got some skill. He skates pretty well. And then his next year, he took off and really started to go, and thought, okay, there's a progression here. Like he's the exact example of a player who is right at that cusp that hasn't gotten the right chance to stick with the team. And a team like Toronto is so loaded down the middle, it's going to be tough. And even with Vegas, man, I don't really see down the road a world where Adam Brooks is going to stick or Amadio. But if there's another injury or two, like I can see a world where maybe Brooks does stick around longer than we expect.
Well, I think the big thing for me is like he has that knack. There's a knack to score. And like the guy he played with, amazingly, the way he scored his goal, because he played on the line with a guy who does not have that knack. And I'm sorry, Ashley. Like I like Ashley. She's doing a hell of a job. But we cannot call that a feed from Keegan Kolesar. Keegan Kolesar had no idea what was happening. And then the puck ends up on Brooksy.
I will give this, because
no, don't do it.
He didn't make a pass. It was a save.
Okay, thank you.
Kolesar is directly responsible for that goal, for the way he went to the net and drew those defenders and pulled them into the crease. Okay,
I would agree with that.
And there's value to that being this. He's the just being the snowplow. You know what I mean? But like that is a guy that you've got to see more output from. Like I mean, Kolesar's got a goal and 5 assists, which is fine, but like he's a guy that you really want to be scoring on the third line 15 goals a year, you know, and it's just has not happened yet. Can Kolesar play in the NHL? Yeah, he's proved that 100%, but can he play really an elevated third line role? I don't see that. And I think you're kind of at the point that what we're seeing now is what you're going to get. Like there's only so much development you can do on a skill level. But man, dude, he's a guy that everybody just like loves. And that's what I love, having guys like that in your room on the team. That like Kolesar, you could put him on the fourth line all day long. I'm happy with him there. 100%. Let him just run guys over. Like, I think he'd actually be better if you just told him, don't even worry about the puck. Just go run guys over, because the puck will find him. That's the thing. Like,
but then when it does, like we need it to go in sometimes.
Yeah,
like,
but it will find him.
You have an Adam Brooks who scores quickly. Like Amadio did nothing for me, but like Lecision was able to get in front and score. Ronebier put himself on the board again. Like Cotter has shown that he's been able to score. By the way, we need to. There has got to be a shout out to this.
Where are you going to put the pucks? How are you going to display them?
We got another one
going in my room.
He's got another one. That's 2 in his room. Well, I mean, what a beautiful goal that was today.
I saw him do it twice last year for the Henderson Silver Knights.
Beautiful.
Games that I was doing color commentary for, I saw him do that twice. Catch the puck in stride, skate in, score blocker side high. He's got a deceptive release. It was always funny to me last year because he didn't really put up a quantity of points, but he was getting these chances. And I think for him, for Roneberg, it's so confidence-based. He missed an entire year.
Yeah, broken arm.
More or less. Like, man, it can take, some guys just don't recover from that, period. And so last year, and especially with it being like COVID protocol and all weird and a shortened schedule, last year was just about getting his feet back, man. And like, this is a guy who I think he's got upside. Like this has turned into a longer audition than any of us would have expected at the start of the year for a Jake Lecision or a Roneberg. And these two guys, especially, are really making a case for players that can make that jump next year full time, I think, which would help the Golden Knights massively to have entry level contracts, low level contracts that can
need them now. I mean, if they can find a way to get Will Carrier's 1.4 off the books, or there's a little bit of money in the Nolan Patrick contract. There's some other spots there that I know we're nickel and diming here, but these are the types of guys. Like, I don't think there's any argument that you can play Lecision over Howden. You can play Ronebier over Howden. You could. I mean, I think you could play him over Carlson. Like, by the way, what the goalie gear? What is it? Goalie gear nerd.
Oh, I love it, man. Goalie gear nerd. That's great, dude. Thanks for noticing, Charles.
Is something.
Yeah, well, it's a. I'm not going to give this away, but Goalie Gear Nerd's a friend of mine. And he's big on the socials, on Insta, Twitter. If you ever have questions about goaltending equipment, he is your guy. And I thought I knew everything about equipment, and he's got me beat. So that's my buddy.
He is a nerd.
Good eye. Total nerd. Well, I'm a nerd too, man. Like I didn't realize I was like Rick Moranis type nerd, but apparently I am. So
I'm gonna be honest. I don't know who Rick Moranis is.
Oh, dude.
Who's Rick Moranis?
You've never seen Ghostbusters, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, Spaceball.
Oh, I'm getting yelled at. Hang on, I'm getting yelled at over here.
You're being paged.
What's that? Who's Rick Moranis?
Oh man.
Did we mute him? All right, you're unmuted. Go.
How do you not know Rick Moranis?
I don't know Rick Moranis.
Like Mike just said it, Ghostbusters, Vince Clortho.
What? I'm 30. What am I watching Ghostbusters for? Like the new Ghostbusters has the fucking Stranger Things kid.
Well, who cares about that one? The original.
Something like
Rick
that.
Moranis.
Whatever 1988 is. 32 or something? I don't know.
And then Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Mike's on top of it.
Again, like what year is this? Somebody look up what year Honey, I Shrunk the Kids came out. Like I was probably like 5.
Mike, what was that Canadian hockey show he did when he was younger?
Strange Brew.
Strange Brew.
Yeah, Molson, eh?
I'm going back to the Rick Moranis
catalog. Yeah, Glenn is yelling Strange Brew.
We got to get you.
But I am the guy from Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. What?
No, he's saying Moranis is the guy, not you're the guy.
Oh, jeez. I was gonna say.
Throw it off.
All right, we're throwing Jason back out of here. That was fun. I got yelled at for Rick Moranis. I'm gonna have to look up Rick Moranis. I guess I have homework for the next podcast. Yeah. It's ridiculous.
Well, anyway, back to the Golden Knights here. How about can we just talk about the fact that this was not just a good game, but a game on the road after coming off kind of a crappy performance in St. Louis, really. And I don't mean that in the way that the Golden Knights were terrible in St. Louis.
Weren't good.
But they weren't great, and I thought they were going to steamroll St. Louis off the bat when they scored 2 early. I was in the building that night, and you could just kind of feel it suck the air out of the room in the Enterprise Center in St. Louis. And then all it took was one turnover in the other direction, and a goal goes in. And O'Reilly's goal on Leonard looked terrible, right? It's a bad angle goal. It goes off his far pad. And I want to go a little bit in depth on this just to give some context for people watching on
here we go.
Why this is not as bad of goal from a technical standpoint.
No, he's goalie unioning.
You need to listen to me on this one here. Okay. And I'm going to tell you exactly why, because Leonard goes into it in what we call RVH. It's how you lean up against your post. Okay. He has
reverse,
the entire
vertical, horizontal.
Thank you.
Yes.
I was dumbing it down. You brought it back into the echelon of integrity.
I mean, I feel like RVH is less dumbed down than go on.
Yes. So anyway, Leonard goes into the post integration he should have, because he had the whole front side cover on O'Reilly. He's ready for anything backside if there's a pass to the middle, and he's got it. Well, O'Reilly completely misses the mark. His shot's going 2 feet wide, and it goes off the inside of his right pad into his own net. And it's really hard to read that because there's no passing lane there. That's not where this puck should go at all. It's just kind of a fluke that it missed its mark, and Leonard wasn't able to shut it down in time. And so from my perspective, I've had that happen before, and it just, it looks bad. But I think it was bad purely from the fact that it seemed to suck the life out of Vegas.
Yeah.
Because I think they all looked at it and went, oh, God, that was a terrible goal. And they just let down because it was just like, bang, 3 goals go in 3 minutes. And this is what I'm here to say is that wasn't as bad a goal as people think. Okay. And I'm not going to give anybody a pass on it because you still want to be able to react and move and try to get your pad there and make it. But I've had that happen before. So I don't want to bury him on that. The only goal from that game that I didn't like was Saad's goal from the slot that Leonard retreated on. When he couldn't find the puck, he retreated. He kind of got off angle. And you do that when you're nervous. We've all been there. But you want to hold your space and hold your depth so that you still don't give up the whole top of the net. And that's where it went in. That was the only goal I didn't like in that game. So it just, they needed a response from that game because you didn't want to go out on the road and lose 2 in a row. And the start of the game tonight, I'm kind of thinking, man, I don't know. And then you were right. Ken, you're spot on. They started to kind of vary it up a bit and they got rolling. And man, that goal at the end was just huge though, the period.
Yeah. They've been doing
it
that
really
all year.
Was. It changed the whole complexion of the game. And it was.
They've been doing it all season.
And in a lot of ways, it really was vintage VGK, a quick strike, bang. And it's if you're Nashville, you're thinking, This is what we remember. Yeah. This is what we remember.
Well, it's like they're killing us, but we are staying above water for the past 7, 8, 9 minutes, whatever it was. They're doing what I think a lot of teams fall into that trap where they see and they hear what the Golden Knights are, which is like, if we don't give them the opportunity, they're going to have a hard time scoring on us. And especially when they have Saros behind them, they're like, yeah, okay, we were on them for a little while. Now they've been on us, but they don't have a goal. And then you give that one up. And that's like, a lot of these teams just cannot avoid it. Colorado is the best example. The game, it was game 5 in Colorado, where the Golden Knights were down by 2. They come out in the third period, and Colorado just could not stay away from giving them the errors. Gave them 2 errors, get the goals, and then the series is over basically from there. That's kind of how this game went. They gave up the error, and they're like, we blew it. We should have never done that. And then from there, it goes and they kind of blow it. By the way, I want to talk about another goal that was scored and then not scored and then was scored. And then
let's do it.
Happened. But first, I want to tell you that this episode of Goalie Interference is brought to you by Jimerson Law Firm. Jimerson Law Firm is one of Las Vegas's preeminent law firms specializing in high-stakes business, family, and civil litigation. I actually said that backwards because I can't really read while I'm trying to write. It's actually civil and family litigation, but I'm not that good at reading. When winning matters, and winning mattered tonight, and killing penalties matters, and all sorts of different things matter, seek out the Jimerson Law Firm. They are fantastic, and Jim Jimerson is a diehard Golden Knights fan and was probably running around his house getting ready for Thanksgiving tomorrow. But I need to talk about this goal. So
let's do it.
Here's what happens. The Golden Knights start killing this penalty. There's a stoppage in play. There's 1:44 left on the penalty clock. They put the puck in play. The Golden Knights are in their own zone, hemmed in. The puck's going around the outside, taking away the point-to-point pass, and Nashville doesn't know what to do, and John Hines should be fired for how horrendous his penalty power play was today. Nonetheless, they're killing him. They get the puck out. They go all the way down. The clock still says 1:44, 36 seconds after they put the puck in play. Comes back in. There was actually a stoppage. They still didn't catch it. All of this happens, and the Predators actually score right as White Cloud came out of the box, 2 minutes and 35 seconds after he went in real time, 2 minutes of game time, but it was messed up. Clearly the refs realized it, and I'm sure they went to the video and were like, what do we do here? Because there's nothing in the rule that says if the clock operator screws the clock up and then they score, you can, like, there's no rule there. So they're looking at it saying, what do we do? And then I think, here's what I think happened, tinfoil hat on. I think they watched the play, realized we're going to be able to call this off for goalie interference, walked over to DeBoer and said, look, we ran 36 seconds off. Your guy was in the box way too long. The goal was scored. There's nothing we can do about it. However, wink, wink, there's an outside chance that you still can challenge this. If you would like to challenge this, wink, wink, maybe you should challenge it. And then Pete says, yeah, we'll go ahead and we'll challenge for goalie interference. And while it is goalie interference, don't get me wrong, it is goalie interference. He catches his stick. He catches the glove. I don't know he's going to make the save, but it is goalie interference by rule. I think they walked over there and were like, hey, just challenge it and it'll be fine.
I think you visited Area 51 last week.
I think that's what happened.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, here's the deal. Like, I can say that didn't happen purely because I was watching Ryan Craig the whole time on the bench. And Ryan Craig he's got the Men in Black deal with the microphone. He's talking to Mike Rosati upstairs, the goalie coach. Because that, I believe, if it's not Rosati, it's the video replay. It's the video coach for the Golden Knights, or both of them at the same time. I'm not 100% on this. I don't know the inner workings of the team to that extent.
I believe it's the video coach, yeah.
But when it comes down to it in that scenario, and I see Krager doing this, and he's going, I mean, he's got that super serious look on his face because, like, he's a serious face guy.
Yeah.
And then he goes to, like, super serious face guy.
Yeah.
And I could see some consternation, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I think they're going to challenge this.
Because the ref came over and was like, challenge it.
Yeah, I don't think that happened. But yeah, I mean, the scoreboard and the game clock, man,
it's pathetic.
That's wild. Like, my dad's an off-ice official in St. Louis, and I mean, I don't know the exact protocol for this, but I believe if the clock doesn't run, they're supposed to blow it dead or blow the horn.
Yes.
You know, and that didn't happen.
No.
And I don't.
There was a stoppage afterwards, and they didn't catch it. It wasn't until the puck went in that they caught it. And I have to imagine that's Toronto catching it.
This was a big mistake. And,
it was bad.
But man, like, they're humans. They are.
I hate
but
humans.
it's shocking that this can still happen. And then like I think they're lucky, because if it's not goalie interference, and imagine if they had ruled it not goalie interference after they challenged it, and now there's 35 seconds and they score the goal, and then they get a power play after that. Granted, Nashville would not have done anything on their power play anyway. They could have run 100 and they weren't going to score. I know they got one relaxed. The Golden Knights didn't care at that point. But I don't know what you do there. And I don't know what the right answer is, because you can't take that goal off. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think we're kind of at the point where we're just going to keep talking around and nothing's going to change. You know what I mean? I'm not sure the protocol, but
skated over there.
Let's at least address the goalie interference, because people always have questions, and it is the title of our show. And when we were talking about it back and forth, I'm like, yeah, there is contact. It's in the crease. This is it. My only question to it was going to be, and I think that this is really the determining factor now, is did it happen close enough in proximity for Leonard to get reset and make that save? And it was very close, but I think it was ultimately right at that threshold that you had to say, I don't think Leonard truly had the chance to get fully set and have the best chance on it. Here's the thing, though. I don't think Leonard makes that save even if he's fully set.
I would agree,
because it goes off a Hutton skating in. He's not lining up to it. He's not rotating with his stick and moving his stick to 5-hole and his pads across. He's just reaching, period. So I think that the Golden Knights actually got a pretty lucky break here, that there was the goalie interference, because
after getting horribly unlucky.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. And I've been in those shoes before, where a puck just gets tossed to the middle and goes off your D skate. That's not your destination. That's not your route for a goalie. That's not where you're getting square to. It just hits and goes in. And so, man, I do think they got a lucky bounce there, but it did cancel out.
Should be own goals.
Own goals?
Are you an own goal guy? So that puck clearly goes in off of Hutton's foot. It's not going to go in. If not, they would credit the goal to Forsberg because he shot it across. In soccer, that's a clear own goal. That goes down as Ben Hutton goal, own goal. I'm a favor of own goals. I love own goals.
Oh God, soccer sucks.
Soccer's fantastic.
I actually don't listen. I don't mean that. I'll be honest.
How can you be from St. Louis and hate soccer? But
I actually didn't. I don't really enjoy soccer. I've never had much of an appreciation for it. I played goalie a couple times and thought it was the worst experience of my life, because I was used to stopping 90-something% of shots, and it went to 50 or maybe even 40. And I was like, this isn't fun. But I tell you what, I don't know what my percentage was, dude. It was a high school. It was like a high school pickup game.
Your team must suck.
So I'm actually excited now, though, because there's an MLS team coming to St. Louis. And we've got a new stadium and things. And I'm just
Fortunately, the MLS sucks, but that's okay.
I could care less. I'm just excited for something new. I'm not a football fan. I'm an agnostic football fan. I've had two teams leave me in St. Louis, the St. Louis Cardinals and the St. Louis Rams. They left me. So I'm I have no allegiance to anybody. So maybe I can call the MLS team my own. I don't know.
Do they have
they have
a stupid name, right?
I think they're the St. Louis Football Club. So
that's a stupid name. That's not even the sport.
I tell you what, you're never going to get canceled with a name like that, though. You know what I mean? You can't. Nobody's going to come after you for being the football club.
If foots are, the word foot becomes some problem down the road. I don't know.
Who knows?
All right. First of all, look at this message. What a tremendous message this is. If you're enjoying the stream, please hit the like button. It helps Ken with his sponsor so we can keep getting free content like this. Thanks, Ken and Mike, for great shows. Happy Thanksgiving. Holy shit. I owe this person Vorshay's.
I love it.
Thousands of dollars, possibly hundreds of thousands. I feel like I owe them at least 2 digital chickens, but I'm not giving up digital chickens. Today was a big day in the digital chicken world. We're going to bring in Jason. Jason, let me fix this so your face is not behind there. We need a lot more going on in your background. It looks very bland today.
It's a little bland.
It's very bland. I need
join the club. It's so late.
Hang on. Zoom down a little bit. Are you in the bathroom?
No.
Zoom down a little bit further. Move. Oh, it's a bed. I thought that was toilet paper on the bottom left there.
No.
It does look like a roll.
What
are you holding?
I'm in the guest room.
What is this?
This is some silly thing that my kid likes to play with. So, anyways, by the way, Ken and Mike, I'm not going to tell you who, but there's a highlight, an NHL highlight tonight that Ken has to watch.
Oh, I saw it.
Oh,
I
okay.
ignored it immediately.
Okay.
I ignored it immediately. I know exactly what happened. Little backhand pass across the crease around a dude.
Mike,
This
it was
is
a
horrible
nice
defending
move
and
by a
pathetic
former.
goaltending, and it is ridiculous.
What happened here, fellas? I was busy watching the game.
It's Reeves.
I heard he was on an offensive tear tonight.
Yeah, the bum had a nice hat trick. What did he do?
I hope he sends you something autographed someday. I really do. Thanks for being Ken. Thanks for being a fan.
Yeah, okay. That's about as likely as them mentioning me recognizing that the clock stopped on the broadcast today.
That was one of my favorite things to just bury punishers on like Twitter and things. Was just,
what is this?
They'd say something terrible, and I'd say just, hey, thanks for being a fan.
No.
Spaceballs. It's one of the classic
I know
movies
what
of the
Spaceballs
80s.
is, but it's so bad. Like, I feel, is that like a badge to be like, I've sat through Spaceballs? Like, that movie is terrible.
Yeah, it's not a great one, but it's still one of those, classic 80s movies. Hey, I got one for you. Oh, there you go.
She's right. It's not surprising that I don't know. All right, what do you got?
Well, did you see that tweet right below there? I don't know if you could see, but Jesse Granger had asked a great question, and Adam Berger, there you go.
Jesse Granger just asked Roenbjerg if he would eat what he was going to eat for Thanksgiving, and Roenbjerg said, I haven't celebrated that one before, but that would be fun. What's he been doing? He's been in America for 4 years.
He's been in his room staring at his goal puck.
No, he has only had that for like a week.
Well, last year was COVID. The year didn't start.
Mine's going in my room.
Fantastic.
Well,
Mike, what happens when you guys are on the road?
Last year didn't start until January.
Yeah, but okay, so maybe
all right. So maybe
he's
rehabbed at home. I don't know.
That one, but like,
I don't think he's making this up. I don't think he celebrated Thanksgiving before.
Well, I would agree with you, but I'm judging him now because he's lived here. Like, how do you? What are him and Elvinus doing? Like, I'm blaming this on Lucas. This is not Jonas's fault. I'm blaming this on Lucas. Lucas should have brought him. The Swedish man should have brought him some turkey or something. I feel like Lucas would be the better cook.
Is turkey a Swedish thing, though? Do people eat turkey in Sweden?
Lingonberries. They like lingonberries. That's what they like. But no, like in 1920, I mean, he played the one game for Chicago and he got hurt. He may have rehabbed at home for all we know. So he must not have had the chance.
Wow.
This tomorrow's a big day for him. Let's just he's riding a high right now he's got 2 goals to put in his room, game pucks. And well, he probably won't get the puck from this last one, but it'd actually be really cool if they just gave Jonas Roenbjerg the puck every single time, so that the wall in his room was just covered in his pucks. That would make everybody,
that happens or not. That's what I think is happening.
That would make the world so happy. But but man, like okay, so Thanksgiving is actually one of the coolest holidays for hockey players, for hockey teams, because you, in general, will have a team meal. And it's always the best when somebody hosts it. And I was the person that usually hosted. I love to cook. I love to have everybody over. And I usually had a place big enough because I had some kids that we could do that. And man, like some of the best times I can remember were Thanksgivings. We had one Thanksgiving in Portland that I don't know how many bottles of wine we went through.
I was gonna say,
and we played like 3. It was Thursday, and I think we played 3 and 3 after that. And like, okay, so this is 2015 or so, and
American hockey.
This was still pretty like you kind of didn't do that, but man, the team sent it. We won like all 3 that weekend. But Paul Bissonnette slept on my couch. He was on our team at the start of the year there.
Oh boy,
slept on the couch. We went, we made bacon at midnight. Like, dude, it was some of the most fun I've ever had. And then we just waxed the weekend 3 straight. It was awesome. But I always look forward to.
What is this?
We always. The board seems big cranberry sauce.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I like cranberry sauce, not the stuff out of the can that goes.
The can. You're a can guy.
No, not the stuff that goes when
you want the loose.
No.
You want the loose.
I actually made cranberry sauce today in advance, and I've got this great recipe from Anthony Bourdain. And this is McKenna's what should we brand this as?
Yeah, we're gonna have
McKenna Culinary Minute. You know what I mean? So anyway, I got this Bourdain recipe that you just dump the bag of cranberries, the 12-ounce bag in, and you clean up an orange, and you just cut the little stem off the orange, and then you just chop it up, put it all in a food processor, and just blast it. Even with like the peel of the orange, the pith, everything, blast it. Okay. Stick it in a bowl with a cup of sugar, and there you go. So that's my cranberry sauce. And dude, I'm telling you, I was sketchy about this, but I miss Anthony Bourdain so much. He was.
We all do.
I mean, of all the people that I would have loved to have sat down and had dinner or traveled with or anybody, he was the guy. And I miss him dearly for somebody I never met. You know, like I think that was what was so special about Anthony Bourdain, is that people gravitated to him. Yeah, he was a real person.
There was a little part of him that I thought maybe he was maybe a little mean. He intimidated me.
Well, you're soft. You're just soft, Ken. But anyway, but this one I was like, man, I'm gonna try this recipe, and dude, it's banging. Like it's so good, man.
What's the consistency? I mean, is this something you can drizzle on your post Thanksgiving sandwich?
Yes, I would definitely like. You don't have like the whole cranberries in it. They've obviously been blasted in the food processor, so it's kind of a grainy type of texture. And then with the sugar, it all starts to meld together into a sauce. I would fully recommend the next day mixing equal parts cranberry sauce with mayo and making that into an aioli for your sandwiches.
Now you're talking.
Oh yeah, that's the secret. You mix the mayo with the cranberry sauce, slap that on there.
Now, do you do the stuffing as well? You do the stuffing?
Oh, why not? I mean, then you could mix it if you're into it, you can mix it with cream cheese for a bagel.
Are you an in-bird stuffing, or are you an out-of-bird?
Out-of-bird stuffing.
Out-of-bird.
Me too.
I just heard that if it's out of the bird, it's technically called dressing. Get out of here.
It's all semantics.
It's fine. It's semantics. Good. If you stuff moist stuff in there,
if you stuff the bird with it, like you actually run the risk of the bird just drying out, because you got to get the stuffing is hot too.
Yeah.
And so like, dude, I do the stuffings out of it so I can get it crispy, and I smoke my turkey anyway. So
we have a fantastic new food sponsor coming up that I'm not able to announce yet because it's not officially happening, but it seems like it's going to happen, and I am pumped about this. Very excited. But we should move back into hockey, and I want to talk about the Golden Knights penalty kill tonight, because it is turning into the most dominant unit that the Golden Knights have. It was that for a good portion of last year. I think it's getting even better, but I do think that there's something to be said about finding the outlets, and Nashville was horrendous in it. Just watching it today, they just seemed clueless at how to beat the Golden Knights penalty kill. And I guess that's a huge, mark in the column for the Golden Knights. But at the same time, like how much pre-scout goes into a game where you're playing somebody else on Monday and now you're playing the Golden Knights on Wednesday? How much goes into like, this is how they run their penalty kill, this is what we need to beat it, or not?
Well, it's a lot, but it's also in the same respect more focused on yourself as a team. Okay, so like, especially during the regular season when you're going from rink to rink, traveling around, you see teams like, I mean, dude, they haven't played Nashville in how long? So
2 years almost.
Yeah. So like, if you're going into a playoff series, I think that's when you really will bunker down on the opposing team and drive their systems home into your brain to know how to try to beat that. But otherwise, you're really focused on your own play and trying to execute to the best of your ability, because ultimately you want what you're doing to dictate. So, but it didn't happen tonight for Nashville. So, I mean, there's definitely a fine line there. But just having that one day off, like Nashville should have been prepared for this. Right. For the power play. They should have. And I didn't happen to check whether they had a day off yesterday or not, but regardless of it, they should have had plenty of time to be ready for this. Like when you play back-to-back games, man, you go in the morning, you get the quick overview of what you expect, but you just kind of go play. This wasn't a back-to-back
binder. How does that come? Like what is that in like a manila folder? Like how does that work?
It's paper-free. We're very eco-conscious nowadays.
It's an iPad.
It's all just video that you'll do as a team for the most part, right? And so you'll have the killers and most of your club in the meeting, goalies. It's not personalized. Like this is something you do as a team, so you can have discussion points as opposed to just showing on iPads personally. You don't, group think is really a powerful thing for teams. Like you've got to get in and bunker in and be able to talk with one another if there's any questions. There's usually not many, but like,
is there always one guy that's asking too many questions? You're like, come on, we want to get out of here. What the hell?
Shut up, Brooksy. We want to go home.
You know what? Not real. I didn't experience that a lot, man. No, shockingly, like
that always seems like it'd be like the guy who wants to be the captain. Like for the Golden Knights would totally be Riley Smith. You're like, shut up, Riley. We know you're an alternate. You're not going to be the captain. Come on.
Riley Smith is the guy who doesn't need to say a word because he already understands it and already knows it.
That's
the hockey IQ there.
Nobody's asking questions so that Jonas understands and so that Brooks is there and so that Will's paying attention.
Yeah, but like, look at the penalty kill tonight. Like I'm looking at the game sheet now, and man, most people killed some time.
That's exactly where I wanted to go next. Ronebier was very good today. Lecision was very good today. Kolazar was good killing today. Janmark. The only one I didn't particularly like was Haig. I thought Haig's decision-making was a little slow when he got the puck and he turned the puck over a number of times. Pietrangelo kind of dragged him along today a little bit, in my opinion. But as a whole, like this commitment to we need to get more guys down the lineup killing penalties, I think we're actually starting to see that. The problem is most of the guys we mentioned aren't going to be around, aren't going to be there when they get fully healthy. Like I don't see Ronebier, Lecision. I'm not even sure Kolazar is going to be in the lineup.
Yeah, we'll see who's left. But it is interesting that Theodore didn't play any minutes on the PK. That's somebody who had been doing a lot of that and was considered a part of his growth. So maybe they're protecting him there in some ways. I don't know. He's coming back from that injury, but I found that interesting. But I don't know. I think Braden McNabb's actually played some pretty good hockey recently too undercover, and that's like you get a warrior back there like him. That makes a big difference, man. Like especially for the goalie. Like and by the way, I thought Leonard looked really good tonight. But
very good. Yeah.
You play behind guys like McNabb that'll just eat pucks and they're constantly in the right position. How few times do we ever see a goal go in where Braden McNabb's screening his own goalie? It just doesn't happen,
No.
And that's I can't tell you, like that seems like the dumbest little piddly shit thing, but it matters so much for your defenseman to have a strong enough spatial awareness to understand, hey, I'm taking half of the net, the far side, maybe 3/4 of the net. I'm leaving the short side to my goalie, and I'm not going to cross in front of him. Like that takes awareness, it takes experience, and that's where McNabb, Pietrangelo, like they're really good with that, dude. And like
big guys too.
Yeah, big and like another good game from Pietrangelo. This was Golden awesome. Knights hockey. This was a fun game to watch, and like
I know you guys.
They managed it. They beat UC Soros.
I know you guys said Mark Stone is their best player, but I'm sorry, Alex Pietrangelo has been their best player all season, and again, I completely appreciate what Stone does, but if he's out, if Pietrangelo's out the same time that Stone was, I don't think the record's the same.
I think he's probably right.
Well, yeah, I mean, this is something we could debate all day long because I don't disagree with you like vehemently. I just think that the scoring aspect and driving offense from the front side is probably more dependent on Stone than it is on the back end producing points from Pietrangelo. But it's a fine line, dude. Like I think we could argue this forever. Like you're 100% right, Jason, that he is. If it's not Mark Stone, it's definitely Pietrangelo. Okay, and if it's not Pietrangelo, it's Mark Stone. But I do think with Stone being out this long, you just see how things have kind of flipped in my eyes. Like I think it gives the team more of a whole approach, right? Like we've got our guy back, they've got that emotional core back because they don't have Flower to bring them along anymore. They were missing the emotional guy in Stone. Like there wasn't a lot of emotion to this team for the last couple weeks.
Let me ask about another player who's been out that I'm not sure I'm fully ready to say like maybe he might be the one to go to fit the cap, but the way they're playing, like, is Chandler Stevenson making William Karlsson expendable?
Chandler Stevenson's legit, guys.
I know.
Like
he doesn't make anything. He makes like 2.25 or something.
I'm done making excuses with my own mind on why Chandler Stevenson can't play top two lines in this league. I'm done. He's been better than William Karlsson for the last couple of years. I mean, he's making Will Karlsson look like the third line center.
And you don't want to pay that guy $6 million.
Right.
But the hard part here, guys, is that they've been so thin down the middle, and they got Jack Eichel so that they could be thick down the middle. And that's where I think you look at Eichel, Stevenson, Karlsson.
Who are you going to play Karlsson with? Like, if your plan is Karlsson with Dodonov and Wah, who should be a center, and he's playing wing, or you're playing him with Dodonov and Janmark, or Kolazar and Janmark, or whatever. Like, and especially you have to keep in mind, if they're keeping Karlsson, that means Smith or Marchessault's probably gone, or Dodonov. Like,
I know.
I think you're giving him spare parts, and to me, like, are you not putting yourself in a position where you're asking him to be Columbus Will Karlsson? Like, and I love Will Karlsson. I'd be devastated if they got rid of Will Karlsson.
Yeah, but
I know he'd be devastated.
Think about him in the postseason. I mean, you can't expect Chandler Stevenson to do what Karlsson can do against the McKinnon line or against the McDavid line.
I'm going to say that I think Stevenson's growth has put him in the conversation to be able to do that. And I know it hasn't happened. And that's where we have to go with experiential stuff. But Karlsson didn't do it the last couple of years either. And what I'm seeing from Stevenson,
Colorado.
What I'm seeing from Stevenson now is somebody who's really confident with the puck on his stick. And not just breakaways. Nope. I mean, getting it on his stick, getting it off and burying, finishing. And that wasn't there. That's grown. And he was doing this without Mark Stone, without Max Pacioretty.
It's point per game.
You know? And so that's where I'm bullish on Chandler Stevenson. I really am. But if I'm the general manager, I still want those three. I want those three down the middle for my team. And I want to have Nick Waugh as the fourth line center. That's what I want. They can figure it out from there. They can interchange if they have to, but that's what I would like to have.
You're giving away, like, if the reason I'm starting to look towards Karlsson is because the number's large, and if you do Karlsson, it's $6 million. Mm-hmm. That means it's basically him, and you could probably get away with just Will Carrier as well.
And I know I've been saying Riley Smith on the block, but I'm telling you, I don't think they win a Stanley Cup without Riley Smith.
Right, I agree. So that's now you're keeping Will Karlsson. I mean, you're basically saying we're going to give away Marchessault, who is the only guy that scores goals when you absolutely need him. And yes, Eichel should do that for you. Like, when you need dragging out of a whatever, Eichel should be able to do it. But like, I think there's an argument to be made here that I don't think you could be paying $6.5 million or $6 million to Will Karlsson to play with Matthias Janmark. Like, I don't know that you're going to get what you expected or what your $6 million you should be getting out of Will Karlsson.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you I don't disagree with you long term. I think that during a season, though, with everything that can happen between now and trade deadline, playoffs, and the fact that Eichel, can you really go to playoffs with a Jack Eichel who's just coming off of neck surgery that you just don't know how that's going to play? Can you really go in without Carl? I mean, imagine if you have Stevenson, Eichel, and whoever else, and then Eichel gets hurt. You're hooped. Okay. And you can't leave yourself exposed like that.
If one of these guys get hurt, they're pooped. Is that the word? Did you say pooped?
I said hooped.
Oh, hooped. They are pooped. Well, I'm saying they're pooped. But that's where pooped if they lose any of the big guys.
But that's where I think, like, I think they keep them. I think they find ways to keep those guys. And I'm not sure what it's going to look like. It's only going to look different as if this team is 100% healthy come deadline. And they can't then they got to make a decision. And could you imagine being Will Karlsson, though, after that talk from Foley about having to win a couple Stanley Cups? Here's your big deal. Oh, you signed a ticket here that you took a discount to play here because you love it so much. See you later. It's like, we've heard this before.
I was going to say, so what is he, Marc-Andre Fleury or
Nate Schmidt?
Schmidt, Paul Stastny.
We don't give out. I mean, how does Nate Schmidt feel, right? We don't give out no movement clauses, no trade clauses, and then we boom, guys that get it. You know what I mean?
Well,
see you later.
That's what I'm saying. The day they announced the contract, George McPhee said, it's a very tradable contract.
Mm-hmm.
He did. I mean, yeah, he kind of said like if he keeps playing the way he's playing, like that's a tradable contract, but we would never do it because we would never want to give up a player that's making that much. Well, that was before they went out and got 4 $9 million players, or 3 $9 million and a $7.5 million, whatever it is.
You know what? I think just as a fan base, let's hope they don't have to make those hard decisions.
Well, then what do you hope all this for? Everyone to be injured?
And we're hoping for, like, you're honestly hoping for somebody to be injured to be able to get them around this cap hit. I know it is, man, but like there's gonna have to be a tough decision. I think the bottom line is that as fan base, you're hoping that they can punt it until the summer, somehow, some way. And I don't think that's different from the front office. You're not necessarily punting.
Yeah, if they don't have Eichel with the group that they're gonna have for a good month and a half, they're not gonna beat the 4 teams in a row to win the Stanley Cup. It's just not going to happen. Eichel's never played in a playoff game. It's just not going to happen.
I don't put a lot of stock into him never playing a playoff game. I put more stock in the fact that he's coming back from major surgery and hasn't played in a long time. And with this team.
Same thing. I mean, yeah.
Systems, all that stuff. It's going to be a lot on his plate.
And we've seen how long it takes guys to get going. I mean, I know Stone scored his first goal tonight, but let's be honest. He would have rather been, not an empty net goal.
Yeah, well,
Pacioretty could take
whatever,
goals.
but like, Stone, and everybody tells you right away, it takes a couple games. Like, and these guys aren't robots, man. Like I play forward once a week. Like a couple weeks ago, I didn't have my legs, and I know it's men's league and everything, but I just remember thinking like, oh God, can you imagine going out in an NHL game and feeling like this, Mike? Like I kind of knew what it was like as a goalie, and you can grind through it, but never as a player. And it was just, if you don't feel like you have your conditioning or your legs, it's really hard to get mentally engaged. Yeah. Like it's hard to just will yourself through that. And I think that's what you see, right? Like
that's what Janmark's been going through.
Yeah, 100%. Like, especially with COVID. Like COVID is not, I've talked to a lot of players that have had it, and which is just about, it feels like just about everybody at this point. Yeah. But some guys, just like the normal society, like doesn't affect them. But there have been more than a handful of guys that they say, it took me a really long time to get my breath back. It make well past the 10 days of being clear of it. And that's
Brock Besser last year. He said it took him almost half the season.
Right. Yeah. Mackenzie Blackwood got ravaged by it, which made his decision to go unvaccinated even crazier this season. But now he is. But yeah, it's kind of in a different world there, man. Like you used to always be just worried about getting your hockey legs. Now it's your breath,
It's a great question from Cornstalker. What a name that is, Cornstalker. I don't know what to make of that, but does that mean he stalks from the corn?
I don't know, but it looks like the profile pictures from a racetrack, though. To me, it looks like
it does look like or it looks like he's like peering through a fence at the elementary school and is probably about to be thrown in prison.
No, that's the strip.
One or the other.
Is that Cornstalker? I'm going to take a look at this.
Either way, Cornstalker's question. Sorry, okay. Cornstalker. We've officially. How much can a player pick up on systems from the sideline over an extended period of time? So obviously this is new in that Mark Stone stepped right in, system change with DeBoer, things happen there. Pietrangelo, he steps right in, plays all these games, finally gets it over time. Pacioretty, these guys were playing games. How much can Eichel, who just got traded here 2 weeks ago, now sit out for 3 months and actually pick up the system?
He'll be good to go in terms of knowing what the system is. Okay, so as he's filtering back into the team, he'll take part in all the meetings. And he'll do, not on game days, but every day you come in the locker room, you've got video. 10-15 on the board, video on the ice at 11. Like it's just how it works every day. And he'll be in on all those meetings. He'll understand the systems. But it's one thing to understand them on paper and actually play within them and get used to the routes and your teammates and what's expected of you. So in that regard, I think this is good for Jack Eichel to have so much runway. It's a lot different than just being traded and plugged into the lineup. Like that can be a real shock for players. And some players will never get over it. Most of them do eventually. I mean, players in the NHL are smart hockey players. I truly believe that. But having this time, like Eichel's going to feel like he's been a Golden Knight for quite some time, even without putting the jersey on, once he gets to that stage. So it's a great observation, and it's It is true. Like you can learn an awful lot. You can be prepared, but you still have to get your mind and body used to doing it in motion.
Right.
Like it's like anything in life. Like you can watch somebody throw a Frisbee, but until you try to chuck that thing, like you don't understand the wrist motion. Like it's kind of how that works. It's a terrible analogy, but it's the only thing I have a lot to think of. So
it's the kind of observation that someone who's standing amongst a corn stalk stalking people would have. It's a good observation.
He said it was in front of Fremont.
Okay.
A race in front of Fremont Street. Well, stalking something. Well, we're almost out of time. What are you cooking tomorrow?
Tomorrow I'm smoking the turkey. I'm making the dressing stuffing. I made the cranberry sauce today. I made a bacon-infused gravy today in advance because I wasn't going to have access to my turkey drippings tomorrow in the way that I wanted to and not enough. So did that. My wife made a pecan pie and a pumpkin pie. Well, actually a bourbon pecan pie and a maple pumpkin pie.
Wow.
So, super bougie in the McKenna
How many people
household.
are coming over?
Just my rents. So it was supposed to be bigger than that. But my cousin and his family, we couldn't get the times to mesh. My daughter's got a hockey tournament this weekend. So,
are you going to be still eating this turkey like on December 13th?
Dude, no question. Like we're getting like turkey chili out of this. We're getting like, I make use of leftovers for everything, but green bean casserole, like straight off, I'll get you here in a second, Cody, straight off the box, French's green bean casserole with extra fried onions. Like that's an absolute classic. That's you can't mess with. So we do that. My mom makes the mashed potatoes and the carrots, and it's like super traditional. I'm going to make Parker House rolls myself tomorrow. I'm going to make the dough, all that stuff, super buttery.
Nice.
Put some Maldon on top. Cody, I just saw your question asking about what rub for the bird. So I dry brine my bird. I've got a fresh 13-pounder, free range, fresh. Like I spend money on the bird because I think the flavors enhance. It was like $50 bird.
That's not bad for 13 pounds. Pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, like it's
acceptable.
Free range poultry tastes way better, straight up.
Obviously.
And for this one, it's worth it. Okay. Like I'm not like crazy about this stuff. Like I don't spend through the nose.
Doesn't seem it at all. Good.
But anyway, so I've been dry brining the bird since about 10 or 11 this morning, which means that you just get the bird out, you dry it, and you salt it. That's what the dry brine is. So I've salted the bird inside and out, and I used Code 3 Spices Top Gun Rub. And I'm a big fan of Code 3 Spices. They're based out of Edwardsville, Illinois. They give 10% of every sale they make to law enforcement, charitable entities around, which I really appreciate for them. And so they've got great rubs. I think they are in the Vegas area, but it's a smoked paprika / salt / spicy sweet. Like I don't overpower the kids with spice at this time. So a little bit light on the rub. And then, yeah, man.
Brine it, you said, and you got to get your hands underneath the skin. Ugh.
Oh, so dry brine in there. And then, underneath the skin, I like to put a little bit of butter so it just seeks in. But then, when I put it on the grill, I just stuff it with a ton of herbs: sage, rosemary, thyme.
Right up in there.
Get it in there, right? Yeah, right in the cavity. And then I grill it. I smoke it offset on my PK grill with cherry wood and lump charcoal, probably about 350, 375, because poultry loves the heat. It loves to soak up the heat. You get the skin crispy. You don't want to smoke at low heat.
This was last week's tip.
Oh, that's right. I already went through
You're recycling tips.
I am. So look at this. I'm going to put us over on time purely because of that. So I apologize.
Unbelievable.
What do you do with the neck?
I use it in my gravy. I took the neck out and I just seared it up real quick. I put the neck and all the rest of it in with the gravy when I made it today. I didn't make my own turkey stock. I cheated. I bought turkey stock, but I also infused it myself before I made the gravy, made the roux and everything. So
nobody's
doing it. You already got like 8 hours of work to do, so it's okay that you cheated a little bit.
What are you eating? Yeah. What are you eating tomorrow?
Classic turkey, mashed green bean casserole.
You cook all this, or is this
Michelle? No. It's all my wife. Yeah.
This is a quantity event. This is you eat it for.
That's the point of Thanksgiving, yeah.
And you have dessert at 7 with coffee, and I'm going to probably get a nap in there somewhere.
Well, it's
an accidental nap, man. Like I pass out and then I revive myself and I'm back for dessert.
But you need some fresh bread. You need a fresh roll or a loaf.
Parker House rolls. I'm doing those.
For the sandwiches late
What
night.
did you say was on top of those rolls?
Oh, just butter, Maldon salt, like the flaky sea salt. Yeah, Maldon. Yeah, it's good. It's good.
It's
flaky.
Salt.
Yeah, it's super bougie. It's great.
I'm a big salt guy. Salt is fantastic.
I have a very salty palate as well.
Yeah. I'll be spending most of my day bowling. It's all you can.
We'll find that out when we have. As soon as we go to a nice meal here with Jim Jimerson, we
yes,
we get to meet one another and hang out. We'll just
Jim likes a good bougie meal. Let me tell you, he's brought me to a few bougie meals out in the Summerlin area. Summerlin, we're better than you. That's it for this show. That's it for this show. Goalie Interference, episode 7, because we're naming them still, is in the books. Thanks to the Jim Jimerson Law Firm. Jimerson Law Firm. I don't know why I said that and screwed it up. Can't even talk anymore. This show is over. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. What a win for the Golden Knights. Second time in 3 years, because Gosher reminded us like 36 times during this broadcast that the Golden Knights beat them on this same day 3 years ago. I can't believe it.
Yep.
What a show. What a game. That was a fantastic game. Thanks again.
It was fun.
To Mike for joining us and giving us all his culinary tips. I'm sure everyone is sprinting to figure this out, and that is true. He's right. Goalie interference is over. Good night.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Listen to Alice's Restaurant tomorrow, Arlo Guthrie.
Oh, that's right.
Good night.